top of the morning to you. Happy St. Paddy's Day. So, of course, I thought, with the St. Patrick's Day Irish theme, I would go with a Leprechaun movie. Because who doesn't like those, right? I chose Leprechaun 2. Now, I had never seen this one up until now. This is 1994. It's the, of course, the second Leprechaun. Still portrayed by Warwick Davis. I still have trouble with his name. It's Warwick is how it's pronounced, but it looks like Warwick. Anyway, you know who he is, right? He is the Leprechaun, and this is his role. And he really makes this role his own, of course. Leprechaun 2 is surprisingly the only Leprechaun movie that actually takes place on St. Patrick's Day. And it's part of the plot. At the beginning of the film, we're introduced to the Leprechaun, and he has a human slave. And it is 1,000 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. Which I guess, if this movie was 1994, that would be the year 994. Leprechaun is explaining to his human slave that once every 1,000 years, on St. Patrick's Day, a leprechaun may take his bride. And he has chosen his bride, and the slave must help him get his bride, because there's a certain spell that has to be performed. So the leprechaun and his slave go and find this woman who's like hanging up laundry in the dead of night or by the moonlight or whatever. Leprechaun blows a little charm at her or whatever, and she sneezes. And the deal is, if she sneezes 3 times and no one says, "God bless you," then the leprechaun gets his bride. But, of course, when we get to this field and we see who this woman actually is, it turns out it's supposed to be his slave, who I can't remember his name, turns out to be his, wife or girlfriend or love interest or whatever. So she sneezes once, she sneezes twice, the leprechaun cackles evilly, and she sneezes a 3rd time, and the guy just can't resist himself. He says, "God bless you, my child," and the spell is broken, and he ruins the spell. The leprechaun can't get his bride, and so he freaks out, and he tortures and kind of kills his slave, but he still has a soul trapped, and he swears, "1,000 years from now, I will get my bride. I don't care if it takes till the end of time." And all of his exposition, of course, is told in the form of rhymes. It's more than a little cheesy, but I don't know. That's part of the leprechaun's charm, I suppose. Anyway, so he loses his bride. 1,000 years go by, and it's St. Patrick's Day again. The rest of the movie takes place in Los Angeles, March 17th, 1994, I guess. And we flash forward, and of course we meet the great however many great granddaughter of the woman, the laundry woman, and she's living in Los Angeles. Her name is Bridget, and she has a boyfriend whose name is Cody. Cody runs these Hollywood tour things, like a tour of the macabre, places of death of famous celebrities and things like that, and drives people around and takes their money and tells them stories as they go to these places. And anyway, it's kind of a scam. Well, actually, he's the salesman, and he sets up the tour for his boss, Morty. And Morty is this old drunk guy. He's this old shystery kind of flim-flam man. But he's getting drunk in a bar, and he's too drunk to drive on the tour. So Cody gets stuck doing the tour. Of course, Cody actually had a date with Bridget, and Bridget is super pissed because they missed out on their date. Now, without telling you too much of the story, because it sounds like I kind of am already, let's just say that the way that it works out is Bridget does get captured by the leprechaun. Cody manages to get one of the gold pieces from the leprechaun's pot of gold, and of course the leprechaun needs to get that piece of gold back, because that's his whole thing in this movie is, "I want me gold." Yeah, and there's some crazy leprechaun hijinks in here. This, I think, is a PG rated horror movie, but it is a horror movie. I mean, there's some mutilations in there. The leprechaun's kind of vicious. He actually tears this guy's fingers off, burns this guy's face, and yeah, so there's some silly kills in there. One really funny one actually is when Morty, old drunk Morty, who's like helping in this plot to capture the Leprechaun and get Bridget back. It traps the Leprechaun in an iron safe, a wrought iron safe. And he says, "Now I have you now, Leprechaun, and I get 3 wishes. And the first wish is, I want your pot of gold." So the Leprechaun's like, "Well, I can't, not grant you this wish." So he gives him the pot of gold. But it appears in Morty's stomach. And it expands. And he's like, oh, he's in agony. And he gets, oh, get it out of there, get it out. And so the Leprechaun's like, well, I have to give you your wish. And so he gives him his wish and he tears it out of the guy and kills him that way. There's a scene right at the end that's actually kind of funny. They're at the go-kart track. And the Leprechaun's driving his own evil go-kart. And it has spray painted on the side, "Want me gold." And the thing looks like, I don't know, like David Carradine's car in Death Race 2000. It's got like teeth and spikes and whatever. And the Leprechaun is, hee hee hee, I'm the Leprechaun. And I don't know, I found it entertaining. I preferred this over the first movie. I mean, the first movie, the advantage on that one is it has Jennifer Aniston in it. And Jennifer Aniston can actually act. Most of these people can too. But there's a few that aren't as good. This one, however, it wasn't like freakier or it wasn't scarier, but it wasn't as funny. I don't know, it was kind of cool. And it was the Leprechaun lore, and they do take it very seriously here. And there's little plot twists here and there about the Leprechaun's gold. If you have his gold, then you can control him, or his power doesn't work or something like that. He's also harmed by wrought iron, and I don't know, there's a lot of imagination in here, and I think some of it might actually harken back to actual like Irish legends and leprechauns and the fairy folk and that kind of thing. So that was pretty good. Yeah, this wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Leprechaun in the Hood got pretty bad in some points, but this one didn't shit the bed like Leprechaun in the Hood did at the end with that leprechaun rap. Overall, I think I'm going to give this a B-. B- seems pretty high for a Leprechaun movie. I know, I'm as shocked as you. Because these are usually like C-grade kind of movies, but they might be funny enough to make you laugh. And this one, there was some funny stuff, like really dumb stuff that made me laugh. But I didn't enjoy it so much because of that. I enjoyed it more because of the story and because of, I'm like, well, he's a leprechaun, and this is what leprechauns do. And it's the most leprechaun of leprechaun movies, except for maybe the first one, I guess. So once again, I guess, have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and have a good one out there, everybody.